The pigeons outside are cooing up a storm, and I'm not putting this off any longer, so you'll just have to deal with it. I'm sorry. Value for money? I hardly know her. And to be fair, show me anyone who's purchased a Hornby Dublo model looking for value for money, and I'll show you a fool. I said earlier this year that I wanted to see if I could get the double tender USA Tour Flying Scotsman. And whilst I really want a double tender Flying Scotsman at one point, and I do like the cowcatcher aesthetic, that would have been the whitest of elephants in my collection, and I basically had no excuse to run it if I wanted to run it in any form of setting. But then I realised, hang on, there is a Scotsman in the Dublo range of the exact number and time period that I model. You know, I have Thompson specifics running around, so that kind of indicates what my time period is. So I bit the bullet. I said, you know what, I wanted an actual nice looking top detail Flying Scotsman, and here we are. 100 years of Flying Scotsman. And, you know, I've told you why the engine is special to me, but, you know, to recap, you know, this is the engine that for me symbolizes British locomotives and why I don't care for the German or Dutch locomotives that many people over here are enthusiastic for. Now, the box is quite nice, actually. You know, it came inside a big bubble wrap sleeve, which was itself inside of a cardboard sleeve. So, you know, they gave it some thought as to, you know, the protection of the model. That being said, I have complaints. Stupid. Come on. Yeah. It's a very nice box, you know, it's a very nice display piece, and I do intend to display these. But, notice when I open it up, this piece of red string here is only on this side. It's only on the left. It's not on the right, as you can see. The problem is this piece of string is only very loosely glued to the backside of this piece of paper, and when I set it down after opening it for the first time, it snapped. Like, the glue just was not, you know, adhesive anymore, so I had to glue this myself. So that is a right shame. The loco's not in here, by the way. I have already taken it out. But, you know, I do have to say, I like the box. It's a very, very nice addition. Also, like, get this coaster with your purchase, which is nice. But for the main event, could you tell I've just seen the Mario movie? Oh man, you know, the first thing that I did notice is that this type of apple green is the only type of this apple green that I have in my collection. On camera, it appears a lot brighter than it actually is. It is a bit more olive / washed out in real life. I don't quite know how to explain that, but it's not, it looks nicer on camera, I will say that. It's not that I don't like the shade of green that it is, it's just that it does look nicer on camera. And, you know, there's a lot of detail provided for you. You know, of course, it is the full fat, you know, super detailed A3, or A1 in this case. But, you know, you get your crew, you get, you know, flickering firebox effect. And, you know, it's not that that makes the model for me. However, you know, little things add up. And I do think that, you know, they're all very welcome additions. I will go as far as saying this is already my favorite model in the collection. I'm sorry, NS4300. One thing I did notice though when detailing her up is that the hole for fitting the coupling is still too small. I had to, like, you know, file away tiny bits of the metal at the, you know, the plug end of the coupling. But, you know, once she's fitted, she's nice, and, you know, the coupling itself is molded to, you know, give the appearance that it's hanging down. You know, you can see the screw there, but, you know, I just like it in the, you know, the folded up over the hook position. Electrically, of course, this model was interesting because it has a new locomotive to tender connection. Basically, it's just a plug. The connection itself is a plug. It slots into the tender here. However, the only thing that's holding it in place is this little pin. And as you can see, it is quite small. So, it is only a matter of time, I suppose, until something fails with that. But I do think that, looking at this arrangement of the screws, that it should be easily fixable. Actually, I think I prefer my steam locomotives without smokebox embellishments. I don't know, I think this looks nicer. One thing that they did not provide, though, were lamps, and I do think, I'm going to steal them from what's that Bachmann shunter I bought, the J72, and put them on this model, because it does, enhance the look of it. Speaking of the handrails, that's a perfect segue. I now own not one Flying Scotsman. I own 3. Because when I was very, very young, and I do mean I believe single-digit age, I got a Thomas the Tank Engine Flying Scotsman. And I know, for as much as I say that I don't like Thomas the Tank Engine now, this model was my pride and joy, and I'm still very, proud that this was, my first Flying Scotsman. I think it's just neat. But a little while ago, I purchased this at an auction. And this is supposedly a super detail Flying Scotsman from the 1990s. And this, coincidentally, is the only one of the 3 that is an A3. Because looking at the 1990s Flying Scotsman, the only detail you're missing out on this, and subsequently on the railroad version, is a lack of handrails and lamp irons at the front. The chassis is not painted, and that goes for the tender as well. And the wheels are not painted as nicely. But other than that, I think it is a perfectly serviceable model. Let's just take you out, because you are definitely a toy. With these pictures that I have of them side by side, it's almost difficult to say which one is the newer Flying Scotsman at a distance. That being said, anyone with a keen eye would notice that the Dublo Scotsman is the more modern one, and subsequently a more correct looking, because I do believe that the elder Flying Scotsman is a bit overscale, even for the bastard gauge that is Dublo. But I do mean to say with that, yes, this is a superb model, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But if, you happen to find a normal one, this happens to be a tender-driven one, but if you happen to find, a slightly modern Flying Scotsman, or A3 in general, you're not missing an awful lot of detail. What I do think is a bit of a shame is that the railroad version doesn't have the handrails, but it is a perfectly serviceable model, and in some aspects it's actually more detailed than the Dublo one, because the builder's plate is actually molded and not painted. And, you don't need the most modern models, you don't need the most expensive ones. But I really wanted this, I've always liked Flying Scotsman, and this is a Flying Scotsman that perfectly fits in my time period. And it was a superb runner. Out of the box, it was superb. I have the first performance test, I have that on record. Did I just say record? I mean video. Now, this section is recorded before I even did the running session, and I notice how the wheels are all dirty, so I just hope no, of course not, because it's not. Wait, let's see. Okay. Connection's easy enough, but let's see if those filthy wheels actually wanted to turn. Oh, the firebox flicker is on. Look. Can you see that? Oh, okay. Okay, so they do turn. But then why is it so filthy? Hey, look! Supposedly, this is a brand new model. Why are the wheels so filthy? Look! Well, we've already seen her wheels turn, so let's see how she does on the layout. Oh. Ooh. Okay. But that is very smooth. Right. 1 hour each direction, or half an hour each direction. Here we go. And after a short spell of running in, I would say that is pretty impressive. I think on DC this is the second best runner I've had, the best runner being the Bully Pacific. I've not seen its performance yet on DCC, but if it's the same as, like, the Thompson Pacific... I've not seen its performance yet on DCC, however, if it's the same like the Thompson Pacific is, then I'm a very happy chappy. That is such a gentle start. Then, when it was fitted, it, could perform alongside the rest of my fleet, and it runs a dream. I have no complaints about this model at all. I'm super happy with it, And I know that's because, I paid a lot for this, I like Flying Scotsman, obviously. So, of course, I would not be as critical of this, if I was to buy an A4. But, I think it's a gorgeous model. I think, again, anyone buying one of these, whether it be this version, the 6103 version, they're all aware that this thing is overpriced. I just think that a model like this, even if you had, I don't know, the Dublo Deltic or the Dublo Duchess or the Dublo Merchant Navy, that you will be genuinely happy with what you buy. And, I am over the moon with it. And, you're not looking for value for money. You're looking for a product that is higher quality than its contemporaries, the plastic merchant navies. And with this Flying Scotsman, I will say that it was generally, missing from my collection, a Flying Scotsman that I could run in my time setting. And I'm now so happy that I do have one. I know this is not really a good review, but come on, man. I'm so happy with this. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. And please, I know that I've now barred myself from any discussion regarding price point of models at this point. So please, have mercy.